In this video, we're going to be solving exponential equations, so have your graphics calculators handy. It is possible to solve exponential equations by hand. However, you'll need some knowledge of logarithms, and that's beyond what we do in our Year 11 general course. We'll be focusing on the skills using our graphics calculators to solve, using some of the various menus, graph menu, equation menu. This is if you're with Casio. And so the types of things that we're going to be solving are things like when 2 to the power of x is equal to 20. So what power of x could that be so that the answer is 20? I suppose it's probably worth thinking about this in terms of what you do know already. 2 to the power of 2, that's something you know, is 4. 2 to the power of 3, which is now you times the previous one by 2, so it's 2 times 2 times 2 to get 8. So I'll just write that down there, 2 times 2 times 2. What's 2 to the power of 4? Timesing the 8 again by 2 to get 16. 2 to the power of 5 is 32. So the type of thing that we're going to be doing is thinking about this 2 to the power of x. What number could x be so that the answer is 20? Is it any one of these exactly? No, it's not. It's not exactly 3 or 4 or 5. What numbers do you think it would be between? Between that 4 and 5. It could be 4.2 or a number like that. So that's what we're going to be able to try and solve. You can do this by hand where we put logarithms on both sides and that brings x down out of the power, but that's not what we're going to do today. Have your calculators handy? So if we're solving this one, for example, 3 to the power of what number gives you 7? What numbers do you know? That 3 to the power of 1 is 3, but 3 squared is 3 times 3, which gives us 9. Whereas we want the number that equals 7. So you can see it's a number between 1 and 2. Which number do you think it will be closer to? I'm thinking it'll be closer to 2. I'm just going to have a random guess because it's not a number that I know off the top of my head. Let's say 1.7, and let's see if we're right. So in your Casio calculators, we're going to equation menu, which is menu A. You can push alpha A or you can arrow down and across to that. We're picking the solver menu, which is F3. Now here are the steps to do. We need to enter this equation. So to do that, type the 3. And then we want the power button, which is a little hat symbol that you'll find. We call it a hat. It's sort of pointing up to the power. Then you push the x theta t button, and that's just below the alpha button, I believe, the red alpha button. So that'll put the x up in the power. Then we need to put the equal sign. You may have never done this before. If you use the shift function and then the decimal place, you'll notice that shift is written there in the yellow-orange writing. That will give you the equal sign. Then type the number 7 and then hit enter, and then that will bring up the solve option on your screen. I'm pretty sure that you need to hit enter before it gives you the option of solve. When you log on to this menu, if there are other things written there, don't worry, that's okay. You just start typing over the top of whatever's there. Then we're solving F6 and it should give us this solution 1.77. I think my guess was pretty right there, but getting close. And so that's how we solve that one. I wanted to add in one more that is slightly complicated, but not really, because you'll get these when you're doing the textbook work. What's similar, what's different? This second half of the equation is things that we're used to, but it's got an extra number out the front here. That's not a problem. We just type them in one thing at a time. So back to the menu, you type in 90, the multiply, using brackets this time round, a decimal place, finish off the brackets, then the hat button to the power of x, using the x theta t button, equals, you need to push shift the decimal point, 15. I'm hoping you're doing this with me because you're much more likely to remember it if you do. And then enter, I believe, and then the solve button will appear, F6, and then our solution on the screen is 3.507, or that would round to 3.51. Be careful with your rounding. Traditionally, we do 2 decimal places, so always look at the third number and then round appropriately for that. These questions match 13D, question 1 and 2. Thanks for joining me.